It doesn't have to be perfect either. Just do that to all three of them. And then put a little dab of glue there in the middle. And put that right down there. So there we go. Nice daffodil. So the next one is the Cosmo. This one looks good in orange or hot pink or white or whatever else floats your boat. So now this one has a new technique. We're going to put this on an upside down mouse pad, which most people probably have just sitting around. And then I'm going to take my stylus and I'm just going to gently rub in the center of the flower in just a light little circle, and that's going to give it this three-dimensional look. It's no longer flat. So I'm going to do that to the other one too. And then I'm going to do my thing again here where I bend it in half and bend the edges over. Do that to both of them. And now for the center parts, I've got several of these little sun-shaped yellow parts. I'm going to lay them on my upside down mouse pad. I'm going to take my stylus. I'm going to do the same thing, just rub it in a firm little circle in the middle. And it kind of turns it into a little cup-shaped thing there. And then I'm just going to glue these all on top of each other, with whichever one looks the flattest on the bottom, but it doesn't have to be too scientific. So I'm gluing these all together, and then I'm just going to glue it to the center. Put the smallest one on the top there. So now we've got a nice little messy little center of the flower here. I'm going to take my leaves and put a dot of glue in the middle. Put that in the center, and then offset the second layer. And then put the center part in there. And there we have our nice Cosmo. And the next one we're going to do is this Echinacea Flower. It's a nice daisy. So the center part of that is pretty similar to the last one. And for this we're also going to use our method with the stylus in the center. And all the petals just kind of pop up. It's pretty cool. And then I'm going to just gently bend these all in half. And I'm not creasing them, I'm just bending them in half. So I'm going to do that all the way around. And then for the center part, I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the last one. These are just a little bit larger. For the leaves, I bend it in half and I take my stylus and give it a nice crease. Like that. And then when I put it, once I glue it all together, it's going to look like this. So the next flower we're going to do is this camellia. It's got several layers. This one I cut out in white, but I've also done one in pink earlier that looked really cool. So for this, I'm going to take a colored pencil, and since this one's in white, I'm going to just put some nice yellow on each of the leaves. And it doesn't need to be perfect or neat. Actually, messy is kind of cool. And when I did the pink one like this, I took a darker shade of pink and I did this on the petals. And it just gives it a cooler, more realistic look. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of the petals. Actually, the one that I did in pink is right here. You can see. I put it on a nice tag. It looks super cool. So I've got some darker pink that I colored in with a colored pencil. So I'm going to do the same thing with the stylus in the center to give the petals a little pop. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I've done before, where I've just bend it and bend it on all the petals. Now when I start to glue this together, I'm going to start with there's 3 larger sets of petals, and there's 2 that have 5 petals and 1 that has 6 petals. And first I'm going to glue together the 2 that have the 5 petals. So that's these 2. Actually, I'm going to put 1 pop dot on the bottom layer, this bottom layer with the 5 petals. Oops. And I'm going to offset the next layer on top. Then I'm going to take my 6 petal layer and glue that. And then the next largest one here. And then finally the smallest one. Glue that to the center. And while that's drying, I'm going to take my leaves and do the same thing. Fold them in half. And there we go. And finally I'm going to take this top layer and just I'm going to bend these top petals in just a little more to kind of cover up the, cover up the center some more. And then glue that to the leaves. And we've got our nice camellia. Lovely. And now for the marigold. Quite pretty. This one's in yellow with some orange marker on it, and this is also one that I've done and put on a tag, and it's orange paper with some red marker drawn on it. So this one has several layers. We've got our leaves and several layers of petals. Now for each of these, I'm going to take my orange marker. You just want to pick out a color that's a little darker, like orange on yellow or red on orange. And I'm doing this pretty messy, and it's going to look cool when I put it all together, even though it's not very precise.